Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
Once again, we are on. I am the TheMoJoKing. He is the great Mike Steph, and we are Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the mighty 19 Media Group. Welcome to the preview of Week 9 of the NFL season. Before we start, I'd like to thank you, yes, you, for listening or watching. Thank you for being here with us. We survive, we thrive because of you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and most definitely tell a friend or two. Just never watch the Jets versus the Giants ever again. How are you today, Mr. Mike Steph?
You would think I would be basking in my glory over victory. But I will say, just like I've said to you personally, like I've said to the millions and, well, actually the dozens and dozens of listeners, that I've never felt as bad as I had this past Sunday after a victory. Like, look, I missed the bravado. Like, shoot, like Jets, Jets. But I cannot hang off the rim off that one. Like, look, a win is a win is a win. We're 4-3, but besides that, my heart is good. But I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
All right. Well, I'd just like to point out that I believe it was my support that got them over the edge. And I'm going to test that theory sometime at the end of the show. But that's a cliffhanger. Yeah.
Only for the sake of time. I'm going to let you rock. But I'm going to come back at the end of the show and give you exactly what you deserve.
All right, my friend. Before we make enemies of ourselves at the end of the show, let's find out what your thing is for the week. Mike Steph, do you have one big thing?
Some news came out late Tuesday night, Halloween to be exact, that the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Josh McDaniels, was unceremoniously kicked out the building, fired by owner Mark Davis, conspicuously right after some cryptic remarks by Devontae Adams and their in the aftermath of their 26-14 loss to Detroit. Now, the reason I'm making this my one big thing is because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. He has a track record that he's not a good coach. He's not a good head coach. He's a good offensive coordinator, but he's not a good head coach. And to me, after his debacle in Denver, in which he brought the world Tim Tebow, he actually drafted Tim Tebow in the first round and forced it down the throat, and then he ended up get kicked out. And then he went back to New England with his tail between his legs. Then he was up for the head coaching job of the Indianapolis Colts, and at the very last minute backed out. So therefore they had to scramble and get Frank Reich, and Frank Reich did a decent job until the wheels fell off last year. But everybody thought that after he took the job and then backed out the last minute, that there's no way in hell that he would be in consideration. Here comes the Raiders. Here comes the Outlaws of the league. It was like, you know what? That's going to be our guy. So you figured Josh McDaniels with his offensive pedigree. You got Josh Jacobs. At the time, you had Darren Waller. You had Derek Carr. You're thinking this type of mix might have some sort of success. You know what he does? Or do you know the reason why certain things happen? He gets the job. Darren Waller's like, you know what? I'm out of here. He jettisons Derek Carr, not even a full season after he gets, like the last 3 games of the season last year, he sat him down. Now, some people would think that maybe that was an ownership decision because they had this big I think they had an option for this next year, and they didn't want to get him injured, so they would be on the hook for that $30-40 million payment. But no, that was Josh McDaniels' decision, because Josh McDaniels had a plan all along to bring Jimmy G in, and unfortunately, Jimmy G has not lived up to the expectations of the head coach. And I'm not going to say it's Jimmy G's fault because Jimmy G is who he is. He's a decent quarterback that if you put him in a position to succeed, he should, for the most part, do so, but you have to cover his warts. 3-5, that's their record. And there's so many signs of dissension in the ranks. I'm actually shocked that Mark Davis is like, you know what? I'm going to eat this money. I'm going to promote Antonio Pierce, former New York Giant, to interim head coach. And I think he might be able to galvanize the troops. Regardless, you wouldn't think that such a cheapskate owner as Mark Davis would have got rid of Josh McDaniels probably with 3 years left on his contract. But maybe he's still in the afterglow of the Las Vegas Aces back-to-back victories. Maybe he's still a little hungover, or should I say punch drunk, from the whipping they did to the Liberty, but I digress. So yeah, that's my one big thing. Yeah.
All right.
See, I'm considerate of your ears.
I do appreciate it. All right, first game up, we have Thursday night football. The 2-3 Tennessee Titans are going to Pittsburgh to face the 4-3 Steelers. The Steelers are 2.5-point favorites. The total is listed at 36.5. That means Vegas is telling you that the Tennessee Titans will score 17, while the Steelers score 19.5 for the victory. As far as injuries, Tennessee has a few of them listed. Ryan Tannehill still has an ankle injury. He did not practice. The coach has already said that he expects Will Levis to start. Derrick Henry was limited with the ankle, and DeAndre Hopkins was limited with a toe injury. I believe both of them are playing. I think they're just getting a little veterans rest during practice. And then right tackle Chris Hubbard is in concussion protocol. We'll have to see closer to game time if he's going to be able to play. On Pittsburgh side, the big injury for them was quarterback Kenny Pickett was taken out of last game with a rib injury. He's been limited in practice. He said he will definitely start, although it's not official yet. And then safety Minkah Fitzpatrick is out due to a hamstring injury. That is really bad for Pittsburgh's defense. All right, Mike Steph, we have Pittsburgh over Tennessee by 2.5 points. What do you think about this game?
I'll start with the Titans. The Titans, as you said, Will Levis is scheduled to start after he made his debut this past Sunday versus the Falcons. And guess what? He threw for four touchdowns. 3 of those touchdowns were to DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, there was a DeAndre Hopkins sighting. I'm shocked myself. Who, tell you the truth, to which go shoot some bail. That was his second big game in the last 3 games. He had 4 receptions for 128 yards. Derrick Henry came off his second consecutive good game, this time actually going over the 100-yard barrier with 102 yards. So maybe he's starting to get into his groove. But, of course, now he's dealing with an ankle injury. Go figure. Now, I personally think no matter if Tannehill was healthy or not, they were going to ride the hot hand. But, yeah, there's no way in hell that Tannehill, I don't think Tannehill's getting that job back. Unless they're like in playoff contention. But guess what? If they're in playoff contention, that means Levis has been playing well. So, go figure. Now, for the Steelers enter at a record of 4-3. And it can be said that that record should be much worse. But, of course, due to the excellence of Mike Tomlin, they still remain a 500 and above team. Because I guarantee you, let's say if you put Josh McDaniels on this team, they'd be lucky to have 2 wins. A case could be made that they should have lost against the Rams due to a couple of favorable calls in their direction a couple weeks ago. And if they win against anybody else, and go figure, if it comes up in my trusty-ass notes, if they win against anybody else but a Josh McDaniels coach team, they probably would have lost that game in the desert in Las Vegas on that Monday night. But here's an interesting stat. Here goes that phrase again. They have a point differential of minus 34 points in 7 games. The normal coaching advantages that the Pittsburgh Steelers would have due to the greatness of Mike Tomlin could possibly be canceled out due to the expertise of Mike Vrabel, who is very respected in the league. Here's my other stat. The Titans average 19 points a game on the season. They're 22nd in offense. The Steelers average 16 points a game. They're 31st in the league in offense. The only thing that's for certain, based on these two averages, and of course they'll probably go the opposite. I think it's going under, even though the over-under is 36.5. So I'm gonna go under, even though I know I'm gonna rue that decision. I'm gonna go under for the 36.5. You know what? Steelers money line. Titans to cover. So I have the Titans against the spread, the Steelers money line, and under. I know it. That kind of, because I'm like, all right, if I got the Titans to cover, then I should just pick the Titans outright because it's only 2.5, right? No, I think it's going to be one of those heartbreaking victories because Will Levis has yet to see Steeler Nation on the road. Short week, he's on a high, and it's going to be a real test. I don't think you're going to be able to pass that test. That's my pick.
I respect the ballsiness of your choices there because you pinpointed right in between that 2.5 points. Pittsburgh still wins, so they have to win by 1 or 2. I like that. That's bold. I disagree with everything you said. I disagree with everything you said. So don't put your money where your mouth is, because Pittsburgh's going to win and Pittsburgh's going to cover that spread. And this is the reason why. You know what? I have to admit, I'm not very sure. but I like sounding definitive like that. Because the thing is, Will Levis is a wild card. Yes, he had a great game. The Falcons had no idea what to expect from him. They hadn't seen him. Malik Willis was playing part of that game, so they had 2 different quarterbacks to kind of focus on. It was an odd game. And then even the completions, because like you mentioned, DeAndre Hopkins scored 3 touchdowns. I think he had 4 completions, right? Yeah. So to expect that to happen again this week, yeah, one of them was insane. It was like, anyway, but to expect that to happen again this week is asking a bit much of Levis. But I don't know what I should be asking of him. This is what I do know. You pointed out a couple of stats of how Tennessee scored. Their last 6 games on defense, this is the points they've given up. 23, 24, 23, 3, 27, 24. I like the pattern there of 23, 24 points. So that's the reason I'm saying Pittsburgh's going to score 24. Tennessee will score 17, which gives Pittsburgh the win and the over because that's 41 total points.
Do you know by chance, is Pickett playing or Mitch Trubisky is going to play? Is there anything on the injury report?
See, sir, you do not listen to the injury report as I tell you, because Pickett has a rib issue, but he is guaranteed he is playing.
I don't know. I was mesmerized by this vision of beauty.
Thank you, sir.
I
appreciate it. I didn't shave you. All right.
Okay, gotcha.
But all right. Well, if Trubisky has to start, then of course I'll never pick that guy. So I'll pick a 0-0 tie.
No, but I'm just the reason I said that, besides the fact that it just like went right over my head, because even with Pickett, they average 16 points a game, and a lot of those points are from the defense. And that's a short week.
I think Pickett has looked a little bit better. He got hurt last game, obviously, but I think he's looked a little bit better since Deontay Johnson's come back.
Gotcha. That makes sense because he does have 2 options now. Right.
Now he just needs his tight end to come back, and then he'll have his whole lineup, and then there'll be no more excuses for him.
Friday move.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he was such a good fantasy option. He would get you like a touchdown every other week.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Ricky from Late Night Lake Show. A new NBA season has arrived, and there's no better time to be following the brand. From weekly podcasts and live streams featuring some of the biggest names in the NBA social world to viral Twitter spaces and engaging articles. If you bleed purple and gold and love good content, then Late Night Lake Show is the brand for you. Follow us on Twitter at Late Night Lakers and on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or wherever you get your podcast at Late Night Lake Show. It's premium Lakers content brought to you by some of your favorite and best personalities in Laker Nation. It's about to be another crazy season this year, but one thing is for certain. If it's happening and involving our Los Angeles Lakers, Late Night Lake Show is going to be covering. So come check us out. We'll see y'all on the timeline. Peace.
All right, let's move on to Sunday morning football in Frankfurt, Germany. It's a barn burner there. We have the Miami Dolphins, who are 6-2, going to face the 6-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Vegas has the total at 50.5 points and Kansas City at 2.5-point favorites. As far as injuries, Miami on offensive end, tight end Durham Smythe has a foot injury. He's been on a walking boot. I think that means that he probably won't play this week, but he is questionable. Meanwhile, guard Robert Hunt has a hamstring issue. He is also questionable. On the defensive side, they have a couple more questions. Xavier Howard has a groin issue. Safety Javon Holland is in concussion protocol. Both of them missed last week, but had a chance to play. They are questionable into this week. It seems more likely they have a chance to play. On Kansas City side, they have one injury reported, and that is linebacker Willie Gay. He was out. He was taken out of the game last week due to a tailbone issue. He is questionable for this week. So there's not a lot of injury news to report. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game? Two healthy teams, juggernauts in the league, facing head-to-head in Germany.
I think it's crap. Because why are we giving such marquee games to overseas outings, especially 9:30 in the morning? Like, this should have been either a Sunday night game, a Monday night game. They could have matter of fact, don't put it on Thursday night because that would be a disservice to both teams. It could have been like a late afternoon, 4 o'clock window game on a Sunday. But we have a Sunday morning. On top of the fact that I really believe that not only is it a disservice for us, the fans, it's a disservice to the teams because both of them are going to be totally off whack, off kilter, because they played Sunday afternoon, late Sunday evening, and then they have to fly, not even to Europe, not even to England, but to Germany, to Frankfurt, get some bratwurst and stuff, which go ahead to have a pivotal game that can go down this week. It could go down at the end of the season. Like, this game could determine home field advantage. And you got them like totally off their normal time clock. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. But to get into my deep dive analysis, the Dolphins won last week at home versus the Patriots, right? But whatever. They only show out against bad teams. Once they step up in class, they don't hold up the same. Tua had 3 touchdowns, whoop-de-damn-do. Had 324 yards passing, whoop-de-damn-do. Both Waddle and Hill had over $1 in receiving, whoop-de-damn-do. What else is new when they go against middling to struggling teams? They didn't have that same energy in Philly, which got the week before, did they? No, they did not. They look like a totally different team. But what's being glossed over is this. The 25 points per game average. And you would think, is that the offense? No. 25 points per game is what the Miami defense is allowing this season. You would think that even though Xavier Howard is scheduled to play and the safety is scheduled to play, and you have the returning Jalen Ramsey, who got a pick last week. But I'm sorry, I'm not a Jalen Ramsey fan because this is how I think of it. Do you think the Rams would have? Yeah, I know salary had a lot to do with it, but you think the Rams would have been so willing to give him up if he was still that dude? Yeah, he has the chance. He still can get your picks, but is he that lockdown corner that he was back in the Jacksonville days when he first came to the Rams? I personally don't think so. But I guess time will tell. Now, when you go to the Chiefs, messed up my parlay. But besides that, the Chiefs are coming off being upset against the Denver Broncos and ending like a 16-17 game winning streak against them. Mahomes had a subpar game throwing 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions against the same Bronco team that they beat 2 weeks ago. Albeit they struggled back then too at home. I should have known better, but that's wood that I'm knocking on. It's a battle. This game is a battle between the number 1 offense in Miami and the number 2 defense in Kansas City. With all that being said, I really think the over-under is going to be skewed because of the fact that they're playing in Germany. So even though I'm probably going to once again rue this decision too, I'm going to go under for that 50 and a half points because Kansas City, for the most part, they've been playing good. They've been winning games, but their offense has never really looked dominant on a consistent basis. I mean, they have these spurts here and there, but it comes down to the inconsistency of their receivers. Their offense go as the receivers go outside of Travis Kelce. Also, does anybody know if Tay is going to be in attendance in Germany? Because if Tay is in Germany, then Travis Kelce will have a great game. Over under, I'm going under. I'm going to take the Chiefs for the money line, and I'm going to take the Chiefs with the spread because the Chiefs are a good team, and Miami does not play well against good teams.
I think I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Dolphins have had 2 good teams on their schedule so far, and they've lost both games. They lost 20-48 to Buffalo, and they lost 17-31 to Philadelphia. Meanwhile, prior to this hiccup with Kansas City and Denver, Kansas City had won 6 straight, mostly based off of their defense and Pat Mahomes and Kelce. So I think that leans on Kansas City getting the win. I also lean on the under. Neither one of these I'm betting, but as for my prediction, I'm going Kansas City and the under.
I'm betting. I told you, I'm putting all these on my name.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between Blueview Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at Blueview Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. Blueview Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/Blueview19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
We're going to move over to the Sunday mainland games. We're also going to talk some Survivor. So last week was pretty interesting. Most of the favorites won, except for Kansas City, which had very few eliminations. So about 5% of my major Survivor league, about 5% went out. And I'm still there. I'm still hanging on, thanks to Baltimore. And then thanks to the Bills on my other little sprinkles. And thanks to the Jets. And did you know I had one team that actually had picked all 3 of those already? So I went with the Vikings. So thank you for Kirk Cousins for his Achilles holding out for one more week for me. Thank you. As for this week, the biggest spread is not going to be the most fun game to watch. It is the 1-7 Arizona Cardinals heading to Cleveland to face the 4-3 Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 7.5-point favorites, and the total is expected to be 37.5 points. That means Vegas is telling you the Arizona Cardinals will score 15 points and the Cleveland Browns will score 22.5. As far as injuries, well, before injuries, a key component here is Arizona traded away their quarterback Dobbs to Minnesota because Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, and they got a 5th rounder in return. But as far as this week, That means rookie Clayton Tune is going to start. They also have an issue at left guard. Tristan Colin, his knee is injured. He's questionable. On the defensive side, defensive end Kevin Strong was out last week due to a shoulder injury. Why is it so hard for me to say shoulder?
Sore shoulder. Sore shoulder.
Look at this. A 9-year-old should be doing this.
Sore shoulder injury. Shoulder injury.
Come here.
Sore shoulder.
All right. Hold on.
Sore shoulder injury.
Thank you, son.
Arizona credit cards.
All right. All right, Max.
Okay.
This guy. All right. 9-year-old should be hosting the show. All right. On Cleveland's side, Deshaun Watson is likely out again due to his shoulder injury. Defensive end Zadarius Smith is questionable. You know, they never said why. They just said he had x-rays. Who knows? X-rays on what? I hope he's okay, though. And then Greg Newsome has a groin injury. He left last week's game. He's questionable for this week. Also, the Browns traded away somebody. Wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones is out of here. All right, Mike Steph, what do you think? The Browns are 7.5-point favorites against the Cardinals.
They should have got rid of Elijah Moore, but I digress. The Browns are coming off a hard luck loss against the Seattle Seahawks on the road last week. They battled back from a 10-point deficit early in the contest to take a lead late in the third quarter. They ultimately gave up the winning touchdown with 44 seconds left remaining in the game to fall to a record of 4-3. Deshaun Watson, as you said, is probably not going to play. And to me, he's an enigma right now, which coincidentally is the name of my favorite Keith Murray album, Enigma, but I digress. He's an enigma right now when it comes to what, if anything, if he has left, does he have left? Like, is this karma biting him in the you-know-what? Is this something more mental than physical? Like, I'm not going to go down that avenue, even though I kind of tippy-toe down there. But that's something to be, cognizant of, because it's one thing. Remember, a couple weeks ago, they said technically he was cleared, right? And now, he had that real bad beginning in Indianapolis, and they kind of shelved him for P.J. Walker. And maybe the team is reacting more to P.J. Walker than Deshaun Watson. Maybe inside that locker room, they know more than what they're allowing to get out, and that's why they're still leaning on this injury. I don't know. It's something to keep an eye out. The Cardinals, like you said, they traded Josh Dobbs. Do they eventually go to Kyler Murray? Hell no. Now, if they want to complete the tank, I really think even if he's ready to come back, they're not going to mess up that investment because they need they're going to try to get rid of him. They really are. So, and plus, like I said, it's perfect for the tank. You put this rookie in, Tune. I'm quite sure at the end of this game, they will not be changing their tune on Mr. Tune. Mr. Tune will be, riding out the rest of the string. To tell you the truth, to me, that's the only thing of importance that comes to talk about when it comes to Arizona is like, all right, are they going to be the number one pick? Are they going to have the number one pick next year or not? So as for this game, that 37.5, I will go under based on the fact that I don't believe with Mr. Tune at the helm, they're going to be able to score because they was barely scoring with Josh Dobbs, but Dobbs will at least make them respectable I just realized, how many weeks in a row have we talked about the Arizona Cardinals on HGF? It seems like every week. It's like a weekly occurrence because they're always part of this biggest spread. And I think, this is the biggest spread this week, 7.5? Yeah. Shoot, they got one victory over the Dallas Cowboys, and since then, everything fell apart. So, under, for the over-under, Browns, money line, and Browns to cover because I think their defense is enough. Well, their defense is good, and I think they're good enough to really smother Arizona with a novice at quarterback. So under Browns with the spread and Browns money line.
All right. I have to say I love this segment because I disagree with pretty much every possible thing you said. So let me see if I can recap all the things I disagree with you about. First of all, Deshaun Watson is really hurt. He has a messed up rotator cuff. They wanted him to play through it, and then he was like, I'm still hurt. I don't think he's making up or wrong. I think that it may be a little bit mental too, because he wasn't playing that well. And I don't think he wants to play at 70% when he wasn't playing that well anyway. So maybe there is a little bit mental to it. But, we were watching New Orleans. We were watching Carr with his sore shoulder. There I go, having to say that again.
Max?
looking terrible. Not Max, Carr. And I don't think Watson really necessarily wants to go through it, and his arm is hurting. But the one little thing I do, little bit I agree with you, is I do think PJ Walker is probably a really good captain, leader of a team. They have rallied behind him. But here's my problem as far as PJ Walker goes, is that I don't think he's necessarily a great NFL quarterback. I think he was in XFL for a reason, which is the reason I was going completely against this 7.5 points. I was like, I'm 100% behind Arizona until they changed quarterback. Now, Tune is a complete wild card. I have no idea. But the one thing I will say is that they weren't going anywhere with Dobbs. We don't know what Tune's going to do. We just saw Will Levis and what he did for Tennessee. Can Tune do the same thing for Arizona? I don't know. But that links back to the last thing that I have to disagree with you about. I think they've set it up for Kyler Murray to return. And while it's self-defeating, I think they've officially lined it up. They keep talking about the man because they should not be talking about it if they don't want to return. And now they just moved their starting quarterback out the way. Unless Tune goes crazy this week, which is unlikely facing the Browns defense, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler Murray started next week. All right. So anyway, back to this game. I don't like the points. If you force me to do something, I'm taking Arizona. I'm taking them to keep it close enough, or PJ Walker not to expand the lead enough. I want to go under, but that's so low, 37.5. You figure somebody might get a pick six or something, make it go over. All right, I'm going Cardinals and under. That is a game to look at as far as Survivor, but I'm actually going with the next one. All right, next game up is the Chicago Bears. They're heading to New Orleans to face the Saints. The Bears are 2-6. The Saints are 4-4. And the Saints are 7.5-point favorites. Vegas has the total at 41.5 points. That means that Vegas is projecting the Chicago Bears to score 17 points and the New Orleans Saints to score 24.5. As far as injuries, Justin Fields with his thumb is unlikely to play again. And talking about somebody that it doesn't seem like coaches have interest in getting their starting quarterback back. That might be one of them. Right guard, Nate Davis is questionable. Linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds with his knee is also questionable. As for safety, Jaquan Brisker, he was placed back into concussion protocol right before last week's game. That's kind of scary that he was out of it and then they put him back in. So hopefully he's all right. On the Saints side, they're pretty healthy. Offensive tackle James Hurst did not play last week because of his ankle, and he's questionable for this week. Otherwise, they've made it through the week pretty much unscathed. Mike Steph, what do you think about the Saints at home versus the Bears?
The Saints rebounded from their 2-game slide last week with an offensive explosion by their standards, defeating the Colts 38-27. Now, the Bears, they got trounced by the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, and the magic carpet ride of Tyson Bagent ended, at least for 1 week. The big news to me is the acquisition of Montez Sweat from the Washington Commanders. I was about to say the R word, but from Washington Commanders at the deadline, which is getting mixed reviews in Chicago from what I'm reading. They did for a second-round pick, plus gave up a second-round pick, but you still have to sign him because he's in a walk year. And being the fact that they are like a struggling team, have been a struggling team for years, is being questioned. But on the other side, they desperately do need the help on the pass rush because I think they're like last in the league in sacks, and they really developed no type of pass rush whatsoever. So I can get how I can get the mindset of why they would do that trade, but a second round pick, like, so in other words, you're saying that's how they're going to end the season with not a lot of wins. That's more like a late first round pick that they're giving up. I don't know. Plus for a team that's in the same conference. I mean, I know it's not the same division, but that's neither here nor there. But that's probably why the Bears are where they consistently at, and that's at the bottom of the standings. So, to bottom line this, the Bears ain't winning. The Saints, I don't trust Derek Carr enough for that spread. So I'll say the Bears will cover the spread. Saints money line, and that over under.
All right. I think earlier in the season I was ranting about Kirk Cousins because you were anti-Kurt, and I was like, in Kurt we trust. Now I'm shifting over because can't with Kurt. In Derek Carr we trust. Last 3 games, over 300 yards. Yes, it's been ugly at times, but we're not talking about that. Over 300 yards, and maybe he dumps it off to Kamara a little bit too much. Kamara has 23 receptions in the last 3 games. Did you know that?
To me, the spark is gone when it comes to Kamara. The spark is gone when it comes to Michael Thomas. Like, all the weapons that they have still at the disposal, it's like it just doesn't hit the same.
Well, it better hit you this week because they're going to blow out the Bears. I'm going over. I'm going with the 7.5 points. This is my survivor pick of the week. It's going to be everybody's survivor pick of the week, really, because clearly the Saints are going to beat down the Bears because of Derek Carr. If you have fantasy option this week, I've led you right 2 weeks in a row. Derek Carr. Put all the money in on Derek Carr. All your bets. Add that to all your parlays. Get some extra money there.
Yeah.
All right.
and follow him on X at TheMoJoKing. You spew all your venom or the fact that you use your daughter's college fund on Derek Carr.
Exactly. Life savings, Derek Carr. All right. All right. The sirens are telling me to stop talking about Derek Carr so much. In case you don't like the 2 previous survivor picks, which I kind of understand because shaky teams, the next 2 biggest spreads, I'm going to ask you, Mike Steph, if you like any of these as far as survivor, okay? Seattle's heading to Baltimore. Seattle's 5-2. Baltimore is 6-2. Baltimore's 5.5 point favorite. And the other game is Minnesota minus Kirk Cousins. Jaren Hall is going to be the starting quarterback this week. They're 4-4. They're heading to Atlanta to face the 4-4 Falcons. The Falcons are 5-point favorites. Would you pick either of these teams? Well, do you like the spreads? And would you pick either of these teams for survivor?
I would not touch Baltimore and Seattle for survivor because those are actually 2 good teams. So I could see it go either way. The only advantage is Seattle coming across the country for an early game. I mean, last time they did that in Cincinnati, they ended up losing against Cincinnati. So, and the score was kind of low. The 5.5, that's still tricky too. So I probably would abstain from using that, touching that game. Now, the Vikings and the Falcons, at least the Falcons have some type of continuity going. Even though I don't know if which score is going to be Heineken or Ritter. I mean, shoot, everybody thought, well, myself included, that they would actually hit the road running with Heineken, but that turned not to be the case because I looked at those stats and those stats were not good at all. But you also have the quarterbackless Vikings on the other hand, and if the Falcons just concentrate on feeding Bijan the rock and just like really just concentrate on running the defense, I could see them beating the Vikings because the Vikings they're without Cousins now. They're still without Jefferson. So if I had to choose, I would choose the Falcons over the Vikings, but the Ravens and the Ravens and the Seahawks, I would stay away from.
Yeah. I'm right in line with you. Like, I would not touch that Baltimore-Seattle game by any means. And I do lean towards the Falcons because of, Jaren Hall as the quarterback. and how quick they made a trade for Dobbs. They were like, we need somebody that might be able to start. So that means that, to me, that means that the Falcons should win this week, but I don't want to pick that in Survivor. I'll only do it if I have to. So I'm not touching either of those games. I do have a Survivor pick coming up, but before we get to that, Mike, Steph, is there any game of this week that strikes your interest?
Actually, I have a quick 3-pick. Because of the importance of these 3 games, that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. We got the Cowboys visiting the Eagles. The Eagles are favored. Well, to my Apple choice, the Eagles are favored by 3 points at home. It's going to be a big game for NFC supremacy. I believe the Eagles are going to win strictly because of the fact that they're home. Now, if it's in Dallas, maybe I would choose Dallas. But there's a stat that I actually saw before we started. Dak Prescott has won his last 3 starts against the Eagles, and the Cowboys have averaged 44.5 points a game in his last 3 starts. I don't know. Take that for a grain of salt. Don't know. The Bills visiting the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. The Bengals are favored by 2 points on my Apple choice. And I think the Bengals are running. The Bengals are running hot. They're coming off a double-digit victory in San Francisco against the 49ers. The Bills have been struggling. And, of course, due to my little fandom, I'm going to go with the Bengals, which are not only cover, but to win outright. And last but not least, since I've mentioned them numerous times, the Jets. The Jets have the Monday night game against the Chargers, and the Chargers are favored by 3 points. I think the Jets are going to win outright, even though, yes, I know that dreck of a game against the Giants, but that was a mere abnormality in which it doesn't exist. The only way you can have a record on it is the fact that we actually got the win, and that's the only thing I will say, because I told everybody I'm going to not having any slander toward the Giants, and it's been hard for me this week because everybody's coming out to just, y'all don't listen. If anybody else won that game, they wouldn't be saying that damn thing. So yeah, let us win, because as Maria Taylor astutely said on Sunday Night Football, do you know that the Jets are slowly becoming America's team? So yeah, so those are my 3 games that interest me.
All right. Well, first of all, I agree with you about the Bengals. The Bengals looked really good last week. It looks like Joe Cool is back.
Oh yeah.
And if that cast's working and he looks like he's working, yeah, that's going to be really interesting. But since you brought up the Chargers and the Jets, remember how I said that I think my support might have helped the Jets? I believe I'm going to have to take that away this week.
Thank you, because we do not want that hex.
Well, you got the win with it.
Listen.
And unfortunately for you, this week, you're probably going to get the loss with it. Because when it all comes down to it, I'm going to sprinkle the Chargers in this week. Just in case you haven't noticed, because I know you're a fan, so you might not have noticed. Zach Wilson is horrible. And I don't believe a team with no offense will beat anybody but the Giants. So I'm going with the Chargers this week as one of my other Survivor plays. The 3 points doesn't matter.
Did you not hear Robert Saleh a couple weeks ago after their thrilling victory against the Eagles? And he said that this season we've not only beat, but we've embarrassed top-tier quarterbacks. You do consider Justin Herbert a top-tier quarterback, right? We made Patrick Mahomes play subpar. We had a total of 5 interceptions between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, right? We held Jalen Hurts in check and forced him into 3 interceptions, right? The Chargers. Do you know who's on the other sideline opposite Robert Saleh? Brandon Staley. So for whatever pluses that their roster actually have will be canceled out by the ineptness, the idiocy of Brandon Staley.
Wait.
Plus, it's on prime time, and we're 1-1, but it was a pass interference away from us being 2-0 in prime time at home. Listen, if you think that I'm gonna curl up into a ball and not strut my stuff next week after we win, you got another thing coming. You so lucky that the Jets won last week, because I told you, and I told the masses, and I told everybody. Well, before now, and I'm going to tell them now. Do y'all know how close y'all got to having a Hidden Gems After Dark? I told y'all last week there was going to be a Hidden Gems After Dark.
Oh my goodness! Look!
Only because Prince Maximilian is in the vicinity, would I not give you a little sprinkle of Hidden Gems After Dark on this episode? Because I have that respect, and Mike Steph loves the kids.
Well, you know it's funny because I'm doing editing, so I don't think there'll be much going on anyway. But
but I was gonna make your job a living hell. Amount of editing you was gonna have to do. I swear, I would have acted like this is a sort of door to Mike Steph with all the F-bombs that are gonna come out my mouth. See, this way I can get back.
That is funny. All right. Just quickly. Okay. So I already accounted for Jets interceptions. I accounted for the Chargers going for it at their own 25-yard line and losing the ball back to the Jets. Unless the only thing I have to worry about is a couple of pick sixes, because even if there's only one, that's only one touchdown for the Jets. So as long as the Chargers get in the end zone a couple of times, there's nothing to worry about. Because I think I might have mentioned this before, but maybe I didn't. So just in case I didn't, Zach Wilson is horrible. All right. Oh, by the way, you mentioned that that game, the Dolphins game, shouldn't be in Europe. Why the Jets on prime time, and why are they on this earth? That game should be on Mars or something. Nobody needs to see that football.
Because we're supposed to have Aaron Rodgers behind center. That's why we have all these primetime games. Oh, yeah, guess what? Next week, we're in primetime again, baby, against the Las Vegas Raiders. And I heard all the outcry last week of why. I mean, matter of fact, yesterday, why didn't they flex it? It was possible to be flexed. Why didn't they flex? Why? Because, like I said, we are America's team. We're coming. We're coming. We're the little engine that can. Not the little engine that could, the little engine that can. And week 13, week 14, even though I actually really hope this doesn't happen, when Aaron Rodgers makes that return, I don't know. I have to. You know what? I'm not going to put it in the atmosphere. I'll save it. But yeah.
Also, why is Aaron Rodgers giving everybody Achilles advice? Has he come back yet? When does he become Dr. Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. Maybe you know what? I'm not even going to say what I was about to say. I don't know. Maybe it was that darkness retreat that just gave him new enlightenment. You know, he could see what others can't.
Yeah, I think he's put some enchantment over the Jets to make them win the games that how their offense is going. Anyway, all right, we are done. One of us has to get out of here, and it's not me because I got little man with me.
Yeah, I gotta go to this damn shoot job. This is some BS. I swear. You know, usually it's like, yeah, sure. I trust me. It's funny. It takes a good hour and a half for me to actually get warmed up, and right when we get warmed up, guess what? I gotta get out of it. But it was a beautiful day. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Will you be mine? Won't you be mine? Find out all the other neighbors just like you. I wish I could live in the neighborhood with you. That's all I remember.
Does that mean was that the connection because you're dreaming of Aaron Rodgers actually being a quarterback on your team?
Yeah.
It's the Rodgers neighborhood. All right, I got you.
See, you're catching on. I guess it's that time. So it's not much to be said because I think we done said a lot. So with all that being said, I wish y'all a good week. Wish y'all a great week of betting. Hopefully we don't steal y'all wrong. And when in doubt, just go against the TheMoJoKing. So with all that being said, Hidden Gems Football is a part of the 19 Media Group. Bye.
Bye. Wait, hold on 1 second. You ready for it? All right, wait. Okay, you ready?
Okay. This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Live and in living color.
Yes, the growth is real.
Beautiful.
The sirens are coming.
Yeah, because they know some BS is about to come out.
I don't understand. How is there siren? Where are they going? Are they walking with sirens?
Mm-hmm. They're on their lunch break. Trying to go to the White Castles. That's what it is.
The White Castle's right there, right? So maybe,
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe have the sirens on right in there.
They're trying to make that left turn. I'm just not going to show up. And yeah, I know that's going to be cut. So.
You don't see him. Oh, you do see. Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him get up.
He's funny because he's like. Oh my goodness, so silly. You'll never notice. Oh, he might notice. Oh, he noticed. He saw you.